Skill-based damage seems to be an incredibly controversial topic, and in my opinion, something that absolutely needs to be studied. Today, we dive deep into a video sweeping the masses to decide if we finally have real evidence of Activision's manipulation. The video we're going to be taking a look at is from Prime Pete, and it's something that was recommended to me from my viewers on a recent video where I actually discussed another person's video talking about skill-based damage. Now, the issue is, this video right here was a little bit flawed, and in fact, whenever I made my video, you can see that he responded by saying, "Hi guys, after taking some time to reflect on this video and watch other commentary on it, I realized that a lot of my testing methodology was flawed." Now, he goes on to talk about how he wants to improve in the future, and I definitely agree that that's something that we should see, because I want to see as much information on these topics and making sure that we have the truth going out. And if there's some flawed methodology, then we need to find a solution so that we can get real, viable test methods to figure out the truth. But I was told in my own comment section that I should check out Prime Pete's video. Rocco Hunter right here said, "Expel, you went to these small streamers and reacted to his video and pretty much just on him just trying to give his thoughts on how he felt," which is kind of the issue here, how he felt. And he said that he can't put all variables into it. I absolutely agree. That's what he said. And I just wanted to communicate to my audience that people shouldn't be taking this guy's video as God's word. And that's what I kind of discussed in my video. Now, he went on to say, "Why don't you react to Prime Pete's recent video about skill-based damage or react to Blame Truth's video about skill-based damage?" And we might have to do Blame Truth's in the future. He said they've been talking about it for how long now, and you haven't reacted to theirs. Well, one, I don't get over to everybody's video, and if I don't feel I have commentary to add to these videos, then I don't do anything with them. It's not about whether or not I'm being paid by Activision. No, I just feel like some people, they have a lot to say. Just like me, I have a lot to say. And Blame Truth is one of those people where, as much as I respect his opinion, he goes all over the place in his content, and it's kind of hard to follow at times for me. So when I watch his videos and I go through his video, and again, this is nothing against him, I actually think that he does a great job. But as somebody that's trying to provide additional commentary, it's hard to keep up with two commentaries at the same time. So anytime I mention Blame Truth, it's usually just picking out a specific section and something that I agree with of his, and that's how we kind of get into it. Anyway, he said, "I do want you to know I watch all your videos, almost all of them on the daily, but that's just my thoughts." So obviously this is someone that watches my content, agrees with a lot of my opinions, but he wants to make sure that I'm really testing things in their entirety. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today, is checking out a video that he mentioned by Prime Pete. Now, this video itself is only 5 minutes long, so there are going to be quite a few pauses in the video. Just be prepared for that. And we might actually go in and talk about some of these comments, ironically, the first one being from Blame Truth at the very top. So let's go ahead and dive in, and let's talk about Prime Pete's video.
Quick disclaimer before the video starts. This is a compilation of every suspicious death I experienced while grinding for headshots with the AK-74. These clips are collected over the course of about 2.5 hours of just aiming for the head. So had I not been, my aim probably would have been loads better. However,
and I will note his video does only go to 1080p, and I've got it maxed out, so I apologize if there's low quality. It's YouTube compression. I'm not, like, his video itself is not low quality. It's YouTube's compression at 1080p, so I apologize if it's not as clear and beautiful as it usually is.
For some of the damage I get is extremely suspicious and inconsistent, which is exactly what we've been saying is skill-based damage. For example, look at these two clips.
Okay, so off rip, what I'm going to point out is one, doesn't have his telemetry pulled up. But even if he did have his telemetry pulled up on this clip, there's a little bit of misunderstanding about how telemetry works in this game. One, it's completely incorrect. There was an issue back in Warzone 2 where it stopped working. Since then, it has not been correct in its entirety. There's a lot of things that don't show up. In fact, if you go into your account settings, you can see what each telemetry means, and they don't ever show specific ones on your screen, so you know that in some capacity it is broken. But it's also a way for them to not allow you to know that the servers are kind of chalked. But in this case, like I said, he doesn't have telemetry up. One thing I need to point out here is that the game has bad servers. In general, Call of Duty has some of the worst servers that we see in competitive shooters, right? A lot of things that people don't take into account is while your connection to the server may be good, that does not mean that every other player's connection to the server is good. The way that ping works is it's you pushing data to a server and the data coming back to you, but it also has to push that same data to other players in the exact same instance. Now, these players could have 100 ping. These players could have 50 ping. But if you have 5 ping, naturally you'd think your stuff should work the best. But Call of Duty has this thing called lag compensation. So it kind of compensates for your good ping with their bad ping, and it kind of tries to even you out. And the server makes like its own decisions on what it thinks should happen. So you may see something on your client side, but in reality, the way that it actually happens is not the case. And that's why recently we actually saw that there was this issue where blood will hit characters, or bullets will hit character and blood will splatter out of the characters, but you will not get a hit. This was a big problem, and we talked about this in a recent video, and I highly recommend it. I wonder if I could actually find that video if I go to my own YouTube channel. We talked about this, and it was kind of an insane thing once we actually got into it. But I literally went there and I talked about all the issues. So I found the video right here, and it's titled, if you want to go look at it, Call of Duty Exposed for Lying, Warzone and Black Ops 6 Server Issues. Now, this video kind of covers what Tactical Brit says, but I go in detail. Tactical Brit has like a 12 to 14 minute video, but I go in detail for 48 minutes talking about the problems with the servers. So if you think for any like portion of this video that there's no issues with the servers, there's no like lag compensation going on, that might be where a lot of these issues lie. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as we go through this video, because there's a lot of information that could actually just be caused by bad servers, and it's just one of those variables that's very hard to test for, and we don't know the exact specifics of the matchmaking. So I wanted to just get that out of the way, because immediately you can see like he doesn't have his telemetry up, and that's actually a very important thing, is to have the telemetry up and know your connection. But even if you did have good ping like we saw in the Catman's video recently, it wouldn't necessarily mean a whole ton, because we don't know everybody else's ping and the way that the matchmaking system works. And I'll get in the matchmaking system, I'm sure, a little bit later.
Those are both.
So immediately, I'm going to go back to this. He put in a lot of damage right here. And I want to say this is a core matchmaking mode, it looks like. And that is way too many shots. I don't know what weapon he has, but one thing that we used to have back in Black Ops 4 was we used to have health bars. This is just nearly impossible to actually see. But he's shooting at the target, and he's got this guy that ends up standing and killing him. This is the same guy, it seems like. So let's go ahead and check this out. So he shoots over at this guy. That bullet should have been a headshot. I'm not 100% sure that it shot at the exact moment. And I want to be very clear. This was kind of the confusion with my last video. People think that I'm being paid by Activision. My integrity matters much more to me than getting a couple $1,000s from Activision. I want to be very clear. If you want to look at somebody actually paid by Activision, and this is not me talking smack, you can go and look at Lovely Lowe's Twitter, okay? She is literally getting money from Activision. She is getting sponsorships and stuff like that, and I am not, okay? So there's nothing here that is about a bias in one way or the other, but I do feel I have to play devil's advocate, because my goal is to come up with the truth. When you watch these things, you have to get to the truth, because if you come in with a very specific bias, like you're watching something with one specific bias, I have to come in with the other side and be like, okay, but maybe it could be this. Maybe it could be this. You have to think through every single thing, because if you don't, you're going to end up like a lot of people in my comment section that didn't listen to a single word on the last video, didn't think for 2 seconds, and just based everything off of their feelings, like we saw with Rocco, his comment. He was like, he was just talking about his feelings. No, he wasn't. He was talking about a bunch of different data. And if you take that data and you put your own feelings into it, then you come up with bias. So you have to kind of think that all the way through. And I had a lot of great comments from people, by the way, that really talked about that in the comments in my last video. But either way, let's check this out a little bit more. He pops, what, 4 shots into that guy. We don't know if he's damaged. We don't know really much about our boy and whether or not he's damaged. But 2 kills on this guy, or 2, times shooting at the same guy. And what was that? 1, 2, 3. Let's count it up. 1, 2, 3. It took actually 3 bullets. The issue is that you hear the sound more than it actually does hit markers. I don't know what that's about.
Those are both.
Yeah, that's just very delayed. That's the issue, is that he was hitting his shots, but if you listen to how long it takes for that to actually hit the enemy, knowing that all of these weapons have about a 1,000 meter per second bullet velocity, then you know that there's immediately a problem with the server right there if you actually just think it all the way through. So that right there, my guess is server issue, server lag. And whenever it comes to the matchmaking servers, and I know we're 27 seconds into this video, or 31 now. But whenever you think about the matchmaking system, here's what you need to understand. Connection is king. So they always focus on having a decent connection. However, you have other things that also go into it, like time to match. They want to make sure you get into a match quickly, but they also want to make sure that you're matched up depending on how they want your skill to be matched up. Now, this might mean that you're going to get a harder lobby one game. Somebody else is going to get an easier lobby one game. You're going to get an easier lobby the next game. This, that, or the other thing. But the whole goal is to keep you engaged. So they're going to try and engage you. I don't agree with this system. I think everything should be purely connection-based. And I think that we'd see that the servers don't do all these things. We wouldn't have confusion about skill-based damage or whatever if we just focused on connection. Because we don't know what the manipulation is with this matchmaking system. They tried to explain it, but realistically, they tried to explain it away in their white page for this. So the matchmaking system, what can happen is you can have players that are trying to match into a specific skill bracket. And with multiplayer, there's a lot more players online to match into this and a lot less players that have to go into a match. So if this player needs this lobby, sometimes it'll break up just a little bit. It'll break through that connection that it like for its allowance of connection. And instead of forcing, we have to be under 25 ping, sometimes it'll throw a player in with 100 ping because the way that they see good ping is under 250 milliseconds. I don't know if you know that. It's insane. If you actually go and look at the category in your account settings when you're looking at all the telemetry and what it means, it says that good ping is under 250 milliseconds, which is a quarter of a second, which is super high. And that's why you can have things where you're shooting bullets very quickly and the lag compensation will literally make it where your bullets hit late, even if your packets are making it to the server. This is very confusing, convoluted, and hard to understand if you don't know a lot about servers. I don't even know a whole ton, but I've had to learn a ton about it because of issues like this, because of the server problems, and because we know that there's so many bad server problems. And I want to be able to communicate that whenever we're talking about skill-based damage, because technically a lot of this stuff doesn't actually prove skill-based damage. I want to find actual data and variables so that we can show that Activision is manipulating the absolute out of us, but it has to be in some form or fashion accurate, because without accuracy, we cannot prove anything, and they can just at us the whole time because they can just sit there and tell us that we're wrong. That's the issue. So when I search for the truth, I need to make sure that we have something that is very solid, because if we don't have something solid, then we know that they're just going to be like, you guys are dumb. And that sucks. That really, really sucks.
Both in the same match, and notice that I wasn't getting hit reg on the head of the first guy, and the headshot multiplier is non-existent. But the second,
well, so that's not exactly true. You shot one bullet at the guy's head, and we don't know how it connected. Again, if we go back and we look at the first clip, I'll check it out. Let's go to right here. He flicks over. The bullet shoots right there. It should have hit. I will say compression really sucks. So if I literally go to 23 seconds, it shoots right there. You can see it come out of the gun. The audio's a little delayed. It shoots. He actually hits. If you look right there, hit marker, hit marker, hit marker, hit marker. He hit. He did get it. It was just delayed. That was the issue. He definitely got the hit marker on the head, actually, and it was just delayed. That was the problem. So
I missed a few shots on the first guy.
Sorry.
I had no problem dropping him in 4 shots. And even though I missed a few shots on the first guy, he still should have been dead. I shot first, and he still hit me 6 times with the AS Val and just melted me to the ground. And before you label me a conspiracy theorist, this suggests...
I want to be very clear. I don't think any of this is about being a conspiracy theorist. There's nothing about skill-based damage that is conspiracy theory. We know for a fact that Activision manipulates the absolute hell out of us with certain systems in their matches. There's just no doubt about it. And whenever it comes to things like, if you think about how Ricochet works, if they find somebody that is actually cheating, sometimes they will nerf their bullets in real time. So what's to stop them from doing this to regular players? That is something that I will always subscribe to, because the opportunity is very obviously there. It is very obviously there. And it's not like they don't have people that can figure this out. They already have. The issue is that they refuse to pay for good servers, so there's no way to know how they're manipulating us, which really sucks, is because when they have something cheap going on, not to say that it's cheap in any matter, it's just, you know, in the real world scenario here, the servers are cheaper than they should be. They should be paying for better servers so that we're having a better gaming experience. The issue is with that there's no way to know what's real and what's because of the servers. So just know, it's not like I'm not subscribing to the skill-based damage thing. I think it is a very, very possible explanation for a lot of the stuff happening in the game, but we have to have conclusive evidence based on data and based on firsthand experience, both, not just firsthand experience, because a lot of people feel a specific way. I have a lot of people that jump into the comment section of my videos and say, after 12 kills, I swear to God, I can't hit anybody else. Maybe you get nervous. Like maybe you're playing Warzone and all of a sudden you get nervous, you literally start missing your shots. Maybe the server degrades after a certain point of time, because I know that that's an actual thing. If you didn't know, during Warzone 3, when the loadout drops would come in, if it was late at night, sometimes the server degradation would get worse. You'd notice that when you went up a zip line, you'd hook to the edge of it and you just stop at the very top for a split second and then you'd launch. This is server degradation after a certain amount of time. So there's a lot of variables that people don't think about whenever they're trying to prove something. So you have to literally account for every single variable to try to prove what you're trying to prove.
One of two things. One, their servers suck and the engagement-based matchmaking is ruining our ping.
That is absolutely 100% true. They're like, there's no question about it.
And this is because when you sacrifice ping to throw rigged and purposely engaging matches for players with an incredibly small pool of players that are actually available to play with, you're flushing their hit rate and damage down the toilet because you're more concerned with engagement than actual smoothness and match quality.
I do want to pause something he said right there was pretty important. He said right here,
available to play with. Ping to throw rigged and purposely engaging matches for players with an incredibly small pool of players that are
available to play with. That is not the case. The issue is that when you are in the higher tier brackets, you are a higher skill player, you're more likely to get matched against those higher tier players until they want to throw you a bone. So when you're playing in harder lobbies, what ends up happening is you will have to deal with worse ping, worse connection. Now there's obviously ways around this. Of course you could use something like a gaming VPN, but even then they've kind of patched that out. This is actually the exact reason that I focused on using a gaming VPN back in Warzone 1, is because I got tired of them forcing high ping on me every single game, and it was a miserable experience. I've said this over and over and over. Since then, I've stopped using it entirely because they 100% patched like that whole aspect. I think there's stuff that still works. There's like secret behind the scenes, like creators are using. I don't know how true it is. I just know that there's like been conversations about it. But there's stuff like that I'm sure still exists. I personally use something called exit lag. It doesn't help me with like the actual Call of Duty servers or anything like that. It doesn't put me in easier games. You can look it up on Google yourself if you really want to. But I use a service called exit lag. This is not sponsored. They've sponsored me in the past, but I'm not getting paid to say this. So what that does is it'll make sure that your route to the Call of Duty server is as fast as it can possibly be. So if you don't know how ping works, you will literally ping, you'll hit it. This is your house. You'll go and you'll hit one server, you'll hit another server, you'll hit another server, and then you'll hit the actual Call of Duty server. That's just how your ISP works. What'll happen is if exit lag recognizes that there's an issue with this server, it'll go around it. So if this server is slowing you down, it'll go around it and find a different route that's faster. That's called a trace route. So that's what I use now, is if I find that I'm having issues with like server degradation or I'm having ping issues, packet loss issues, I'll be like, maybe it has something to do with the servers, and I'll pull up my exit lag to make sure that I'm getting a better connection. I don't have to use it as much anymore. It seems like I'm not having huge issues with it. I wonder if Call of Duty has gotten less strict because I play a lot of Warzone. I wonder if they've had to get less strict on skill-based matchmaking. In fact, if you watch my recent videos where I'm actually playing in the gameplay, you can see that a lot of the times these players are kind of lost in the sauce, and I don't use a 2-box, I don't VPN, I don't do anything like that. I think it may be a little bit less strict depending upon the time of the day of the recording and things of that nature. But my point here is there's not necessarily a lot less players on. There's obviously people leave, right? Don't get me wrong. But Steam, and I'll talk about this in a whole other video, but Steam actually only accounts for like 5 to 7% of the player base. So if you ever look at the Steam numbers and they've got like I don't know, 130,000 online or something like that. There's like 2 million people online at any given moment. Like, that's kind of what you need to understand. The issue is that the brackets are split up. So 80% of the players are around like a 0.8 KD, like plus or minus 0.1. That's kind of the thing, is that they're plus or minus 0.1 at a 0.8 KD. The likelihood of you playing against these players, if Call of Duty's doing its thing, is much less, because they'll take their time to put you into the pool, because they're like, all right, he's got 2 minutes of finding a match before he's pissed and he leaves. That's the time to match in the matchmaking stuff. So there's just so many little things here that people kind of don't understand. There's actually a ton of players online at any given moment. It's just this, because there's a ton of players, they think that they can put you into harder lobbies, or lobbies that are close to your skill, or lobbies that they think are going to keep you engaged and stuff like that. And that can mess with your ping, that can mess with your connection to the server. Just a whole lot of things, realistically.
Are actually available to play with, you're flushing their hit rate and damage down the toilet because you're more concerned with engagement than actual smoothness and match quality. Or second,
again, 100% something that's happening right here. There's zero question. It's been proven time and time again that that is a real thing. You will get worse connections to the server if you are a better player. It is plain and simple.
Which is what I suspect it is that there's real-time damage manipulation done by an AI algorithm in the background of every match. Why I suspect this just isn't because of trust me, bro. It's because of patents they've filed that describe this practice, not just once, but twice. And
so let's actually check out what he's got written here, right? So he's got abstracts, computer implemented methods and systems for simulating a multiplayer game environment to allow players of different skill levels to concurrently play the same level of a gaming session, to encourage and incentivize cooperative team behavior, to match players based on subjective variables such as likability, general fun factor, and to tailor gaming content based on the social group itself. I don't know what that really means is the issue. I mean, I guess we need a lawyer to really run through this stuff. Abstract, a matchmaking system and method is provided that facilitates optimization of player matches for multiplayer video games. The system may provide a generalized framework for matchmaking using historical player data and analytics. This is sounding like engagement optimized matchmaking. The framework may facilitate automatic determinations of optimal mix of players and styles to produce the most satisfying user experiences. This is not talking about damage yet. The system may dynamically update analytical processes based on statistical or otherwise observed data related to gameplay at any given time. In this manner, the system may continually tune the matchmaking process. Okay, so this is what is going to make it sound like that, and I hear you. The issue is this could also mean before a match. So what it says is, in this manner, the system may continually tune the matchmaking process based on observations of player behavior, gameplay quality, and or other information. So this absolutely sounds like it could be about that. I think the issue is that we can't make that assumption. We just have to continue to try and compile the data to figure it out. Because obviously these patents have been in the game for a long time. We've seen this for a very long time. We've talked about this for a very long time. But the issue is that verbiage doesn't necessarily mean skill-based damage. It could just mean that they're constantly updating the player's algorithm to get them into servers that are going to make them have a more engaging experience, right? And then system and methods for dynamically weighing match variables to better tune player matches. Again, this could all just be... Yeah, I mean, all of this right here, the issue is that it could mean a completely different thing than just skill-based damage. They absolutely have the patents that could mean skill-based damage. I want to be very clear. All of this could be talking about during a match, actively changing it. But it could also mean in the matchmaking system itself, which is kind of just like a way that they can be like, maybe we're not doing that. So it's like, we just don't know. We just don't know what these mean.
They completely avoid the question in their matchmaking blog, stating that quote-unquote matchmaking has no effect on in-game parameters, where it wouldn't anyways, because matchmaking makes the match. It doesn't affect the parameters. Instead of saying no.
So I do want to be very clear. This whole white paper, if I look up Call of Duty matchmaking, if we actually look at the white paper here, I've showed this a billion times in all my videos, but this is kind of the thing that we're talking about. And they also will go out of their way to try and use specific verbiage to push you away from certain theories, which I really don't like. And that's why I feel like it's okay to have these conversations about whether or not they're manipulating us, is because when they try and talk about engagement, they use the word engagement in a completely different way. What they did was they said, does Call of Duty consider player engagement as a factor in matchmaking? And then in parentheses, they put time played. The issue is that's not what engagement optimized matchmaking is. Engagement optimized matchmaking is using specific parameters to make sure that they play longer, not if they play longer, do they get specific parameters? That's not what we were ever asking. That was never a question. We weren't ever asking that question. So when they try and use this verbiage, you know that they're trying to throw you off and they want to make sure that we don't actually know what's going on. And I definitely hear that. Like, I hear what this guy is trying to say whenever it comes to that. And I like that he goes out of his way to specifically point at something. He says, does Call of Duty matchmaking process impact any in-game elements such as hit registration? That he points at this and he's like, this seems like a bold-faced lie. And I respect that. I don't know if they will bold-faced lie in something like this. I don't know if anything's been proven. If you have any proof of stuff like this being just like proven in any capacity to be a bold-faced lie, I'd love to see that. Let me know in a comment down below. Don't put any links, but call out specific videos because I'd love to react to these videos in the future so that we can discuss it. But I don't know if any of this has been proven to be bold-faced lies. I think they have manipulated the specific verbiage that they use so that they can get around having true conversations about certain things, and it just kind of kicks the can down the road. But I don't know what of this is like bold-faced lies or not. So him calling it out to be a bold-faced lie is really difficult. Now, I will say, I'm not being paid. For the love of God, I'm not being paid. No one is giving me money. I would have to disclose that. Otherwise, I can go to jail or I can pay massive fines. They are not paying me. I want to be very clear. I would give out my bank statements, but that seems like a very bad idea. I don't trust people, okay? A bunch of y'all are some weirdos. I'm going to be honest. Some of y'all are some weirdos. And you try and figure out where I live off of that, and that's messed up. So like, I want to make sure that people know, like, I'm not being paid. A lot of people call me shills for Call of Duty. A lot of people say that I have bias for this, that, or the other thing. I've put out like 16 videos in the past like 4 weeks talking mad smack about Call of Duty, having crazy discussions that are going to keep me from going to certain events at Call of Duty. I've never been invited to Call of Duty Next. They send me packages and I don't even post the videos. I don't post pictures or anything like that. I've talked about it in the past. I do not feel comfortable advertising their game by showing something whenever they have made so many mistakes. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to try and make Call of Duty like look good. If I enjoy something about it, I will say that is the truth. But people need to stop this whole like, you're getting paid whenever you haven't even looked at my goddamn channel, dude. I'm talking mad smack about this game. What I care about is the truth. I will always, always, always care more about the truth than I do who thinks I'm shilling or if Call of Duty is going to invite me to COD Next. For me, it's all about the truth and making sure that people know what's truly going on. So I have to go into things like this and be the devil's advocate whenever I don't even want to be. I'd love to subscribe to a lot of this stuff, but when people are very biased in their opinion, I have to be the opposite bias, right? Because this isn't necessarily data. A lot of this is just feelings.
That's not in the game. They instead say the matchmaking has nothing to do with it. They're blatantly dodging the question.
Yeah, see, I like that. I like the way he phrased that, is that they are dodging the question, and that's what a lot of things are. It was my misspeaking saying that he thought that they were bold-faced lying. I expected that to be the thing. He said no, they're dodging the question, and that is the truth. That is the hard truth that we keep seeing from Activision, is them dodging things instead of having the conversation.
So I think it's definitely in the game. Experience plus data equals answer. Now, just to clarify, I'm not denying the obvious. Yes, I know their netcode isn't that great.
To be clear, experience plus valid data, taking in all variables, is how you find that. When you come up with a hypothesis, you have to control every variable. If you can't control every variable, then you can't come up with the correct answer. That is the truth. Experience is a bunch of people that are already feeling a specific way, right? That's what you'll get with experience, but you have to make sure that your data is completely and utterly valid, and it includes every variable, because if you don't have every variable, which they don't want you to have, by the way, and they will not ever let you have the variables, then there's no way to prove it. That's my issue. And it's so frustrating.
Great. I know their servers are not at a high tick rate. I've heard they're 60 hertz. If you're playing at a high frame rate, you're gonna get a lot of fake frames that aren't in sync with the servers, which means that it might seem like you're hitting your shots, but you're actually dead before those shots actually hit. I'm not denying that ping is sacrificed because of the engagement.
Okay, that's not necessarily how that works, because that's like saying if you're playing at a low frame rate, then you're getting every single frame correct. right? So if you were playing at 60 hertz, then every frame that you got would have to be correct. The issue is it's not about your frame rate. It's about like client to server and the difference between the two, because the server has to make certain assumptions. So that information is just entirely incorrect. And again, nothing against Prime Pete there. I think that like when you phrase certain things like that, it really does add confusion more than it does clarification.
Hey, I'm not denying that ping is sacrificed because of the engagement-based matchmaking, and I'm not denying that the servers and the netcode definitely suck. All I'm saying is that there is definitely something else going on, because in the same matches with the same gun on the same server, I'm encountering vastly inconsistent times to kill, vastly inconsistent damage, and just dying instantaneously to certain players only, and not...
All of those things are explainable by servers. Every one of these, every single one of these, like, okay, couple of things. One, at a specific distance, weapons do different damage. We know that for a fact. They give us that data. We know for a fact it does different damage. He mentioned this earlier when he was talking about shooting someone in the head versus shooting them in the body. It should do a different amount of damage. There's a multiplier for shooting the head, right? So you've got inconsistent time to kill. That makes sense because at a different distance, you know, you're going to do different damage. However, the inconsistent time to kill could be because you see something on your side, but the server actually has a player right here. So if you're shooting at the player being right here, where it looks like on your screen, but they're actually right here, instead of shooting them center chest, you could be shooting them in the arm. Now, I'm not saying that I know the exact damage value for every single weapon and stuff like that, but immediately, that is one thing that could be causing this. Whenever it comes to inconsistent damage, we know, again, different weapons do different things. He said he's using the same weapon. That's fine. We don't know if certain players are damaged before or after. We don't know how long it's been since they've been in a gunfight. We don't know a lot of different things whenever it comes to these variables. And in fact, I actually think the Catman did a much better job talking about this. He said we don't know the exact variables for which it shows each player has, like, health-wise. We don't know how much health each player is going to have. It's impossible to know that. Plain and simple, the issue is there needs to be a health bar, and when you hit an enemy, it needs to show the exact amount of health that you're ticking off every bullet that hits. We've had this in the past. It would be great if we could have it right now. Obviously, we're getting out of that, like, super milsim type vibes, so having it more arcadey would probably be fun. And then when it comes to dying instantly, we know that that could be coming from super bullets because of lag compensation. So again, all of these things are explainable by servers, and I hate having to disprove this stuff. But what ends up happening is that when things don't account for these variables, it really sucks, because on my side, I have to get 1,000 comments of people saying, "You're a shill. You are taking the Activision money." No, I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I don't spend money on Call of Duty. Like, unless it helps me make money, I don't spend money. I will not spend money in the store. If Call of Duty wants to send me some COD points, I'll happily use it if I need to use it on getting either the battle pass so that I can get specific weapons, so that I can make specific content. But I don't spend money on the game. Like, realistically, I still, to this day, get emails from Activision saying, "Here's some COD points for the Black Cell," because they want me to promote it. And if I buy something that I have to use for a video, I will always say, like, Activision gave me the COD points. In fact, I always buy the game every single year. I buy the game myself, and then Activision will send it to me. You know what I do? I give the game to Brooke. That's what I do. Every year I've already purchased the game, so I give it to Brooke. Because I just disclosed to her, "Hey, Activision actually gave you this game. Congratulations." It's one of those things because I don't want, like, them to be paying my way through anything. So when people have these conversations and they're like, "You're a shill. You're taking money from Activision." Like, what am I to say? If I agree with one side, I'm a shill. If I agree with the other side, all I do is talk smack about COD. What do people want from me at this point? You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to give you the truth. And I know that I'm hammering this in, and people in the comments are going to go crazy and be like, "Expel, you don't need to say these things." And then the other side's going to be like, "Expel, you shall." Like, there's just no in between. This is the COD community right now, and I hope that you know that. I hope you truly understand how absurd y'all sound whenever you say certain things in the comments. If we can focus on the truth instead of focusing on our feelings, then we might be in a much better situation moving forward. That's all I'm saying.
And not other players. It is weird. But the icing on the cake is that they completely dodged the question in a public statement. They should have just said, "No, skill-based damage is not in the game." But instead they say, "The matchmaking doesn't change anything." So I'm right.
I agree. I will note the issue is that white page was about the matchmaking system. So they're trying to keep everything about the matchmaking system. I'm not trying to, like, take up for them because they'd absolutely dodge so many different things. But I just want to keep in mind that that is another reason why they could have said that.
Fully suspicious, and if you're not suspicious, you're just brushing that under the rug as if they didn't completely dodge the question. So that's why I think it's skill-based damage and not just bad servers. You can't blame me for it. It's perfectly logical. Now in this video, I ask you to pay attention to two things. First, that the bullets required to kill somebody is vastly different and inconsistent, and I'm using the same class the entire video despite switching the optic. And second, notice how fast I get dropped by players that I shoot first, get hit markers, and then get dropped at the speed of a sniper by an AR or an SMG. There is definitely something weird going on here, but that's all I...
For the record, this happens to me a lot in Warzone. It's a little bit more obvious when it happens in Warzone because the time to kill is a lot longer. So you can shoot at somebody and then someone like will literally in the middle of a gunfight turn and shoot you and you'll just die. Again, the issue is this could be servers. I just wish that I knew what the exact answer was. I just think we have to be able to know, like, is it servers? And I'm like super frustrated that Call of Duty is so like sneaky with the way that they do certain things. And it's kind of gross, in my opinion, that it causes this kind of like division between the community. Like, I don't want this to be a conspiracy theory. I think this is something that we should be able to prove. And if we prove it, like it incites change, right? Like that is truly what I would love to see, is that we figure something out and it incites change. We've done that in the past. I don't know if we've realized that. We've figured it out, it incited change. Look at the Tactical Brit. He made a video where he was discussing like once the bot in Warzone 2, once the bots are added into the game, like once they drop the strongholds and the black sites, the game lags. There's a big issue. So he figured that out, and guess what happened? Call of Duty fixed it. They got rid of the bots. They were gone. No more bots. That's what happened whenever we as a community figured something out and proved it. They had to change it because it was right there in their face. And the more and more articles that came out about it, and Call of Duty being a bunch of like morons whenever it comes to certain things, and not saying specific developers, but like, you know, executives that want that money and want it a very specific way, and they have a specific plan. And if they do this specific plan, most likely the reason that they wanted the bots in the game is they saw how well it went for Fortnite, but Call of Duty players are very different than Fortnite players. So it didn't make sense to do that. But the whole thing is like everybody's very stubborn, or everybody has an ego, or everybody thinks that if I keep this in the game, we can make more money. So whenever we proved, hey, you're ruining the gaming experience by doing this, this is the data. This proves it. I'm showcasing to you exactly what it is. If we can get all those variables and we can prove it, then they have to take it out. That's why I have to be on the other side of the fence whenever it comes to this stuff, is because people are so hardcore on one side of the fence that if I'm not, then who's gonna find the truth about these things? You know what I'm saying?
Let me know your thoughts in the comments and enjoy the skill-based damage.
So instant death. Holy crap, your aim sucked so bad, brother. I don't know if you know that. Good Lord, let's check this out. Right here. He's on mouse and keyboard. He flicks to the right. First bullet goes left. First bullet goes right. Third bullet goes to his side. The guy shot him at the exact same time, if anything. The guy 100% shot him at the same time on that one.
What is that, bro?
That is you missing your shots. And that's okay. You're on mouse and keyboard. It makes sense. Also, so I've talked about this in the past as well. This is actually a very polarizing topic. But the way that aim assist works is the aim assist is client side. So when you get the aim assist, the server may not actually see the player where you're getting aim assist. So if you're on controller, like, one, it's a little bit better on you, but it still may not be 100% correct. But if you're sending, you know, this data of you getting aim assist here, it's closer to what the server's seeing because you only have a 30 millisecond delay, but the average human's reaction time is around 200 milliseconds. So on mouse and keyboard, you're going to have a massive disadvantage versus controller players offer it because of aim assist, because you have 170 milliseconds on average. That is going to take a lot longer. And that's assuming a 30 millisecond ping. If it's a 5 millisecond ping, it could be completely different. But basically, like, if you're on mouse and keyboard, your disadvantage is that you may not be shooting at all where these guys at. If you've ever used aim assist in the close range, you may notice that that bubble is actually a little bit ahead of where you think the player is. And that's because the way that the server sends the data to you and back to them, like you'll get certain proper data and certain wrong data, but you will literally get the bubble of sometimes where the player is, and it's completely off from where it looks on your screen. But if you start shooting there, it'll hit them, which is super weird. And that's why sometimes you can shoot to the side of a player and it'll hit him, and sometimes you can't. It's very odd. But in his case right there, he obviously just wasn't hitting his shots. Okay, let's slow it down real quick. Slow it 0.25. I'm gonna go back to This, he sees the guy, turns, first bullet misses. The other guy also shooting at the same time. Second bullet misses to the right. Third bullet hits. The other guy's bullet hit at the exact same time. It's the same guy. What weapon is the other guy using? It looks to be maybe an AMES. He only hit 2 shots on the enemy. So he was shooting, but he actually didn't hit as many shots as the enemy. I don't know if he shows the kill cam. Doesn't show the kill cam. Again, this guy, he obviously missed his shots.
Honestly,
we saw that earlier.
Going for headshots while streaking is just a pain.
That one I've got no explanation for. I'll be honest, that closest one we've seen so far. Because realistically, that one doesn't have an explanation. I think you'd have to see the kill cam, but even the kill cam's not correct in this game, so it's a little weird. Let's go back to this one, slow it down a little bit, and see if we can count up the bullets, because the other ones were pretty obvious, not this one though. I'm gonna turn down the volume so it's not annoying. So he ADS's. The guy's at a pretty decent distance, but I will note, our boy is using an assault rifle. The other guy is using a jackal. Misses the first shot. It looks like that could have gone around the character or through the armhole. I know that sounds goofy, but that is a thing. The second shot missed. So he's hit 2 shots so far. 3, 4. I know this is kind of goofy, but he hit 4 shots, none of them being headshots. The other guy moved to the right. It seemed like he had a better angle because your character holds your gun on the right side, right? So you're like this. It's not, you can't switch like CSGO. So your gun might be on the right. Our guy, if you look right here, his gun's on his right side. The other guy's character is blocked from the bullets coming out from that right side. So it could have been that. Obviously, reasonable doubt, but I don't have an explanation for that, just to be very clear.
It's just a pain. So that's five hit markers.
This guy hit 6 times. He hit 4 hit markers.
No kill. All right, very cool. Four hit markers.
Does he get the kill? No, wait, what gun is he using? Do we know what gun he's using? So if I go back right here, let's go right here. We're going to put it in slow motion, okay? I know this is annoying, but this is really the only way to go through this. 1 misses, just hits his first hit marker. So 1 hit marker, 2 hit markers, 3 hit markers, 4 hit markers. So 4 hit markers, it looks like one of them went through the vehicle. So that could have been like an FMJ type hit and it wouldn't have done as much damage, but that guy is at quite a long distance and you have to keep in mind the distance whenever you're using these weapons, because after 12 meters, you pretty much lose a lot of your damage. So we don't really know. Obviously it sucks, but I don't have like really a way to say whether or not his bullets are hitting in a specific way, and the footage is kind of low quality because of YouTube compression. So if this was 4K or something like that, I might be able to see it a little bit better. Shooting through the wall does no damage. I don't know if we know that. You can say 6 hit markers. You were shooting him through the wall right there. Let's go back. We'll put it in 0.25. Let's do 52. No, 51. Let's go 50. Okay. Coming around the corner. He sees the guy inside. I'm going to zoom in for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it was 3 with 3 through the wall. That was what that was. So again, I mean, it could be distance, but that is again another one where it's like I don't really have a true explanation because I don't know the exact values of the bullets that are hitting. Obviously you can see he was hit. I mean, flinch maybe should have hit the headshot and he should have got the elimination. I will say the way that he's got his visuals set up kind of sucks for me because I keep thinking he's shooting at his teammate. 1, 2. Okay. The guy was insta dropping him. That could have been lag compensation. If this same guy's like insta dropping you, it could be that this guy has a higher ping than you and it's compensating for that lag. Let's keep going.
Yes, of course.
He literally just missed all of his shots. I don't know who needs to hear this. There was like no world. Like, how do you watch? I feel like some people and okay. So at the top right, I just realized it said like bad hit red. So it looks like he is missing all of his shots. And I will say again, if you had controller, your likelihood of actually hitting a lot of these shots is a lot better because of the way the aim assist works, client to server side. So that could help. Bad hit reg. I don't know if so he shot this guy. This is the guy he just killed. He just killed 2 guys right here. Missed a shot on the right, missed a shot on the left, missed another shot on the left. He's going right over the shoulder. If you look at the little dot in the center, I'll go ahead and zoom in for you. Shot over the shoulder, shot over the shoulder, shot over the shoulder, shot over the shoulder, shot over the shoulder. And then right there, that you can tell is lag compensation because he hits the shot so late. That's called desync. And so that right there, we already know is something not necessarily based on hit reg or anything like that. I mean, it is hit reg, but it's all about desync and server degradation. Let's go instant death again. I'm gonna go ahead and go 0.25. Let's see. Comes around the corner. Missed shots. He went top left shoulder, top right shoulder. One hit on that, which seems to be again a bad server. He insta died, but we don't see a kill cam here. You know what I mean? You got dropped quick. I mean, the guy hit you with a jackal in close range. If you would have hit your shots, you probably would have killed him, to be quite honest. I think he should go back and do this with controller. A lot of this seems to be a big issue with like mouse and keyboard versus controller scenarios. And again, he doesn't show the kill cam. He literally pulled it up. I don't know if he's just like pressing the like skip kill cam button, but that kind of sucks whenever you're trying to like really break things down. So we got a guy up top. 1, 2, 3, and then through the wall does no damage. We know that for a fact. Unless you have FMJ, he's not hitting. What was that, 5? He hits this guy once. He runs out of ammo. So 3 shots up top, 2 through the wall. And if you want to go through and count this yourself, I always have the link in the description down below. This is skill-based damage is what he's saying. 1, 2. Both of which, by the way, were through that little like wood right there. 1, 2. There's another guy there that he's shooting. He shot that guy 3 times. I think a quarter of a second longer, he gets that elimination. I think because on server side, he was dying, that bullet probably didn't hit. That, man, I'm like sitting here thinking about all the comments that I'm going to get of people being like, why are you debunking this? There's no reason to debunk it. You're a shill. You're getting paid. And I'm like, oh my God. I know that it makes me look bad to a specific audience, the audience that like I've been trying to communicate with and like try and tell the truth with. And some people are just going to base everything on their feelings is the issue. And a lot of people don't take into account all the variables. And this is one of those scenarios where it looks like it doesn't take into account all the variables.
I always read them and really complain.
Let's count this up as well. Let's do it. 0.25. 1, 2, 3 through the wall, 4 through the wall. So he only hit 2 hit markers.
Ah, yes.
Just listening to him like fuss about it every single time is throwing me off so bad. 1, 2, 3. He only hit 3 shots.
How many hit markers?
3. You hit 3. You got 3 hit markers. 3 again.
How many times do I have to shoot that?
You hit him 3 times with an AR while he's hitting you 5 times. You got the kill. And then you shot the other guy 2 times.
Wow.
4. And the last one didn't hit. Sorry, it was 3 and the 4th didn't hit is what I was trying to say. 1, 2. Pistols have a ton of damage. I don't know if you know that. Pistols are just like super OP. I think there was a video with Scump playing on Black Ops 6 at like TwitchCon or something. And he pulled out the pistol and he was just slamming, just absolutely destroying people with the pistol. The pistol was just really good. So he only shot him 3 times. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
How did I not get that?
Again, I mean, it really is 4 shots to kill. It's not necessarily that it's an instant death. In any capacity. I think it really just comes down to the actual amount of times he was hitting him. I think you should try with controller. I will note when I was on mouse and keyboard, I don't know how many people know this, I played on mouse and keyboard for the entirety of a Warzone. Like up until Urzikstan was released, a month into Urzikstan, I was like, all right, I'm done with it. Like we keep getting nerfed as mouse and keyboard players. And I think as soon as I switched over to controller, things started going a lot better for me. I started hitting my shots. I started like actually connecting bullets. I was winning gunfights. I doubled the max eliminations I ever got in Warzone. So when people try and point these things out, really what I'm looking for is conclusive evidence, conclusive variables, because I want something that we can serve on a platter to Activision and give the big middle finger and say, stop doing this crap. That's what it comes down to for me. I don't think there's conclusive evidence. If you want me to watch the Blame Truth video, he has like 8 videos on it. So find a specific one where you think that you can showcase this to its max ability. I'd love to check it out. But either way, I appreciate y'all. I understand some people are going to be mad that I went through this video and kind of like said certain things just weren't the case. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of this is based on feelings. And again, we have to find a way to get the correct variables, make sure that certain things are accounted for. And once we do that, it's going to be perfect. But aside from that, if you did enjoy and you like getting down to the bottom things, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for loadout videos, I have a second channel, Expel Plus, where I post every single day. So I'm posting 60 videos a month for y'all. But that's pretty much it. I'm out of here. See ya.